What you're watching is the iPad Air M2, and it's been a little bit over 2 months since I first got it. So since I've been using it for this long, I can give you all the information you need in case you're deciding between buying this iPad or the M4 Pro version. What's up guys, today we're gonna be talking about the iPad Air M2 and why this is a great option if you're in the market for a new tablet. Now, the one that we're gonna be discussing today has the M2 chip, just like the 6th generation Pro, with the exact same numbers except for one, which is the GPU cores numbers. This one has one less core, but aside from that, everything remains the same. Apart from that, this one comes with a liquid retina display. Mine is the 11-inch version, and it has the front-facing camera in landscape position. Of course, this one supports the Apple Pencil Pro, and because no one asked, this one also supports the Apple Intelligence feature. Now, like everything in life, there's pros and there's cons of buying this iPad instead of the Pro version of this generation. Some of the pros, for example, are that if you're on a budget, this is much cheaper than the iPad Pro M4, and even more considering that if you want the nano textured glass from the iPad Pro, you're gonna have to get the 1TB or 2TB version of that iPad, which increases the cost a lot more. Apart from that, you get to decide between 4 colors variations for this iPad Air, which on the other side, for the iPad Pro M4, you get to decide between black and white. I don't care what fancy name Apple puts to those colors, it's just a white or black version for the iPad Pro M4. Another pro is that you're gonna be able to use the Apple Pencil Pro with this iPad Air M2, just like you would do on the Pro M4 model. Now, if you think about it and you've seen other reviews on YouTube from these two models, comparing them side by side, you're gonna be able to tell that everything the iPad Pro M4 is capable of, you can do within the iPad Air M2 as well. The only difference here is, for example, that if you're editing videos, your render times are gonna be a little bit longer, but in the end, you're gonna get the same result for a much more cheaper device, which in the end, it's a deal breaker for the majority of the people out there. And if you think about it too, you're basically getting last generation's Pro version into this new capable device, which has some advantages to it. Like, for example, last generation's Pro is not compatible with the Apple Pencil Pro, which this iPad Air is. So there's more advantages than disadvantages if you're thinking about getting this iPad Air M2 instead of last generation's Pro. But as I said earlier, like everything in life, there's pros and there's cons. In this case, the cons come mainly from the fact that you're not going to be getting some features that you're going to be getting in the M4 Pro version of this generation. Like, for example, you're not going to be getting the Ultra Retina XDR display. That's something that you should take into consideration if you consume a lot of media from these devices, because the difference in image quality, I've heard, it's noticeable. And if this is something important for you, I think that you should go with the iPad Pro M4. ProMotion technology is something that you don't get either. If you're getting this iPad, you're gonna be getting a 60Hz display, while in the iPad Pro M4 you're gonna be getting 120. For me, this is not a deal breaker, as when I'm drawing or stuff like that, I cannot see the difference. And I've been only exposed to 60Hz from these tablets. So as I said, for me, this is not a deal breaker. But if it is for you and you're used to using devices with 120Hz displays, I would suggest considering buying the iPad Pro M4. Now, if you're a professional that uses their iPad for work or work-related tasks, something that you must consider is that you're not going to be getting Thunderbolt speeds. The iPad Air M2 comes with the last generation's USB-C Type-C, and the speeds are lower than what you would get on the iPad Pro M4. And finally, something that you don't get on the iPad Air M2 is the Face ID. Now, this is not a deal breaker for me, and that shouldn't be a deal breaker for you either if you're not used to unlock your devices with your face. For me, for example, I use my phone unlocks with my face, but in terms of tablets, I've always used a fingerprint scanner, and that's not too much of a deal breaker for me. In conclusion, the iPad Air M2 is a great device if you're currently in the market for a new tablet and you're on a budget. Considering that you're gonna be getting almost everything from the iPad Pro M4 except some commodities, you could say. For me, they are commodities. This is a great device capable of everything you're gonna throw at it, including some of the most demanding tasks you could throw to a pro version of this iPad. So if you're on a tight budget and you want to save some money, but you still want to get the performance, I would highly recommend getting the iPad Air M2. I can promise you're not gonna be disappointed, and you're gonna be able to complete the tasks that you throw at it. So that was it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it and you found it useful if you're in the market for one of these devices. And as always, see you next time I hit record.